Gen 4, Glock 19. Hey, what's going on? This is Doc 6mm, and just going to show you guys the Glock Gen 4. This is the Model 19. Just a quick little review, kind of my takes on this little pistol. There's a lot of different reviews out on this rig, on the Gen 4s, and a lot of people aren't real big on them. I've been, I guess, pretty lucky. And this pistol has done pretty well for me, but it is a different spring design, and that changes things a little bit, I think. Overall, I mean, what can you say about the Glock 19 that hasn't been said? Well, it's a great little pistol. I mean, it's really one of those just perfect all-around type pistols, and in my opinion, probably the perfect all-around 9mm. I mean, it's small enough it can be concealed carried, maybe a little big in my opinion, but it can be concealed carried. It can work as a duty sidearm, and for its size and weight, I mean, being able to hold 15 rounds is pretty impressive. So this Gen 4 is a little bit different than the Gen 3s in a couple different places. The texture on the frame is different. It's not quite as aggressive as the RTFs, which I actually kind of like. It's a little bit more mild, but it is better than the Gen 3s. One of the other things that they did is they added a larger magazine release, which is not too bad. I still have to shift my grip just a little bit to hit it firmly and 100% every time, but overall it's pretty good. And now we're going to show you how to disassemble the pistol. I'm just kidding. If you don't know how to disassemble a Glock, you're living in a hole somewhere. But anyways, one of the things about this pistol, and yes, it hasn't been cleaned in a while, but it does have this little bump on the trigger bar. And I've actually called Glock and asked them, hey, is this causing the trigger pull to be different? Because I think it is in these Gen 4s, or at least this example is. The trigger pull is more along 7 pounds as opposed to 5.5 compared to my Gen 3s. So this little bump on the trigger bar, according to Glock, is not the cause of the heavier trigger pull. According to them. I don't know. I think it does. What Glock tells me is that this little bump on this trigger bar is just an added safety measure to make sure that that stays on your plunger there. Overall, I'm not too sure what to think. I did a polish job on this one. It lightened up and smoothed out the trigger a little bit, but then I went ahead and put a Long Wolf trigger connector in there, and that seemed to help quite a bit. Now the trigger pull in this is much more similar to my Gen 3s. There's been a lot of talk about the different springs in the Gen 4s, and if you call Glock, they will send you a replacement spring. This pistol, at least when I purchased it, shipped with the 03 spring. And if you call them and ask them to send you another one, they will ship you the 03-04 spring. From what I understand, this spring's supposed to be a little bit lighter, and it does have a little bushing. I'm not sure if that helps things out or not. It seems to make the recoil just a little bit snappier, in my opinion. I'm not sure if that's real or if it's just in my head, but to me, when I switch these back and forth, it does seem to hit my hand just a little bit harder. However, it is a 9, so it's it's not really that bad anyways. But so this Glock 19 Gen 4, it does have the replaceable back straps. I don't know how important these really are. I've never heard anyone complain about their Glock not having a wide enough grip this way, but it is what it is. I actually like the feel of it without any of the back straps on it. To me, it feels pretty good that way. One thing I do notice is when I don't have any of the back straps on, when I do grip this thing, occasionally I'll notice that my knuckle kind of hits right here, where I don't notice that on my Gen 3s. So to me, it just changes a little bit on my hand where my knuckle hits on this trigger guard. Is it a big deal? Probably not. Overall, I like the Gen 4s with the 04 or with the 03 spring. I had one jam with this thing. It was a stovepipe with the cheap Walmart Federal ammo, and it was very light recoiling. So I think it was probably related to just a low powder charge. That's the only jam that I've had with this thing since I've had it, and I've put, you know, quite a few rounds to it, a couple thousand, and overall, it's done pretty well. The trigger pull after inserting the Lone Wolf 3.5 pound connector feels much nicer, much more reminiscent of just a good polished Gen 3. Overall, I like it, and overall I like the Gen 4. I think it's a great option, kind of as an all-around pistol, maybe a first gun, I don't know. Still like the Gen 3s, and one thing about them is that it's a proven design. Now, for instance, this Glock 26 also has the dual recoil springs, and this is a Gen 3 version, and you know, with this one it's ran great. Factory spring, the trigger pull's nice and normal, feels like a regular Glock. You don't notice the trigger bar hump. This one has had a polish job too. It also has the factory Glock connector in it, and been really happy with it. I did call Glock and ask them about the heavy trigger pulls that I'm seeing with the Gen 19s, or the Glock 19 Gen 4s, and what they recommended as their solution was to send me a different connector and take it to a Glock armor to have that installed. We'll see how that works, if that lightens up the trigger pull compared to the stock connector. We'll see what happens. But overall, Glock 19, probably my favorite all-around 9mm pistol. It's small enough that you can be concealed, and you still get that 15-round capacity, which is kind of more standard capacity for a full-size 9mm. Perfect little pistol. I'm a big fan. Like the Gen 3s, the Gen 4s, check them out, see if you like them. If you could get a Gen 3 with that extended mag catch, it would really be a winner, along with this textured frame, regardless of the back strap or their new spring system. Anyways, this is Doc 6mm signing out. Well, you know.